And so, Roger, I wonder if you could take a few minutes, talk to us about protecting the buyer in a market like this.
Yeah, so I mean, guys, it's really important when you are looking into buying a home that you're protecting yourself and being protected by your representation, your lender, your realtor, and then of course, when you are getting your inspection, that you have the best inspection company possible. Now, buying a home can be very stressful, even if it's the perfect, most smooth transaction, because most people will never have a purchase this big in their life. First off, I don't want to take away from that experience. I do want to say you're most likely not going to get the perfect home, and it's most likely going to look a little different than you expected, and that's not a bad thing. Be flexible with what that looks like. However, it is important that you get your needs met and you're protected against any liabilities, and to make sure that you are, walking the right line versus walking in the gray or having representation that may pull you to some immoral stuff. Doing whatever it takes is very important to do in this market. However, doing whatever it takes within your moral ground and doing whatever it takes within what is actually going to work for you in the future, and not putting yourself in a bad position or being house poor or whatever that may actually be detrimental to your future. Buying a home is partially building wealth. So when you are going to be protecting yourself and you have the right representation, it's important that they explain things, especially if they're tweaking what the process looks like. So, for example, shortening your inspection period, not getting rid of the inspection period altogether. I will tell you, I was definitely guilty of doing this with a few buyers when the market started switching, because we were adjusting to what we needed to do to get our buyers in the door. So we were getting rid of the inspection period completely, meaning that your earnest deposit that you put down after you get an accepted contract has a chance to be taken away if you back out, if you find something in the inspection period. We found that that's definitely not what we want to do. We just shorten it from 10 days. The contract already gives you 10 days due diligence, check the neighborhood out, crime rates, schools, and of course, see how sound the house is, make sure there's no crazy issues, roof issues, foundation issues, things like that. With a 3-day inspection period, you're telling the seller, hey seller, if I find something that I don't like, I'm backing out quick, so you can put it back on the market, as well as protecting yourself, getting a home inspector in there, getting a roofer in there if you feel like there needs to be that extra inspection, checking the crime rates and all that good stuff, so you're protecting yourself from moving into a bad situation, especially from being out of town if you're relocating from out of state. Another thing to be really aware of is when you are putting that earnest deposit down, there are a few times that you can back out of the contract unless it's specified up front when you negotiate the deal. So during the inspection period, you get to ask for things, even though most sellers are not repairing things right now. You can ask, and if they say no, you also have a time period after they say no to back out. Or if they say yes, you're done with the due diligence period. The next time you can generally back out and save your, protect your earnest deposit would be with the HOA. Most homes in Arizona have an HOA. If you like them or hate them, I personally think there's a lot of pros and there are some cons as well. However, the HOA has CC&Rs. These are rules and regulations for the community, and some of these rules and regulations just might be a deal breaker for you. So once you receive those, and the realtor doesn't know when you receive those, however, once you receive those, you have 5 days. I receive them today, day one starts tomorrow, to determine if any of those rules and regulations are something you do not want to live with, and you have the opportunity to back out without losing your earnest deposit. And another time would of course be if the appraisal comes in low. Now, of course, we are offering above appraisal, and usually whatever the buyer is willing to pay above appraisal. You can totally pay the gap. So if you offer 380 and the house comes in at 350, if you offer the seller to pay the difference completely, you will be responsible for that 30K. However, if you tell the seller, I'm willing to pay 15K above a low appraisal, if it comes in low, then you're obligated to pay that unless the seller's not willing to come down to that number in the case it was 30K, if that makes sense. So what's really important that we're seeing out here are there are a lot of lenders playing the gray line. Let's be real. They're actually doing a lot of stuff they shouldn't be doing. So what that looks like is the lenders are willing to put a loan denial for the buyer if it is too far of a gap. This is immoral, and I'm all about doing whatever it takes. However, this is not an option in my opinion because it's against ethics that I have and realtors actually agree upon when they take this license and they decide to serve individuals like yourself. So get somebody who's honest, who's willing to be flexible in the sense of solution oriented, because it's extremely important, and to save your earnest deposit or protect you from buying a home that you're not going to feel was a good option. Make sure that you have somebody that's going to lead you, educate you, and of course, give you the options on what may be a bigger risk or not. I would just totally tell you, even if you do have a real estate agent and you're not sure if they are telling you the right thing, feel free to call another realtor. If you do feel like one of them is going to represent you better than the other and you did not sign an agreement to only be with that buyer's agent, it is important that you go with who you trust so they can lead you down the path and you're not just fighting it the whole way. Some buyers feel like the buyer's agent, their agent, is who they need to negotiate against. And that is definitely not the case. So find somebody you trust, find somebody you'll follow, find somebody who's educated, find somebody who is well-versed in the market. Roger Wright, I'm really good at what I do. However, there's a lot of great agents and there's a lot of bad agents, being is that there's over 50,000 active agents in Arizona. So choose right and choose who you feel you can trust.